Uh, Viewers and brethren over there, I wanted today to share about the COVID-19 versus God's plan in it. Should we say this is from the evil world or from God's idea? I believe, and I want to say, this COVID-19, in one way or the other, it is a blessing in disguise. It is God's idea. When we go back to the books, the good book in Genesis chapter 11, that's the Holy Bible, says the whole world had one language and the people were one and they spoke one language. But you realize that as they moved along the plane, they realized, they appreciated that they were one and they never wanted to scatter. So they said, let us build a tower here to reach God so that we may not be able to scatter the whole world. So they started building the tower, the one which is known as the Tower of Babel. So when God came down and saw what the people were doing, he says, if people with one language can do such a thing, there is nothing that they will be stopped from doing. So it annoyed God, and God had to scatter them to the whole world, to the entire world. You see, what they were avoiding is to scatter themselves to the whole world. And so God did the opposite. God's idea was to co-create and go multiply and fill the whole world. But remember, they were in with one language. Guess what? When they did so, that's when God confused the whole population of that time and gave them different languages. So when they could not hear from each other, that's when the Tower of Babel stopped from continuing to be constructed. So what happens now in today's COVID-19? God has brought back he wants to use COVID to bring back his original plan. Check this. Today as we move along, you realize the whole world is talking about sanitization, covering your mouth, social distance, washing your hands. You know, these are the same words from each country to the other country. The whole world now is, by default, speaking the same language. Sanitizing, washing your hands, covering your mouth, social distancing. You know, you get this? So God has brought back his idea by bringing all the people to speak the same words everywhere in the whole world. Now, by inflicting the world with COVID-19, God wants people to appreciate his fact of his idea of bringing back them. This kind of racial discrimination, nepotism, tribalism has to get away because God has seen how all this has brought mankind to disobedience. Because of people trying to protect their race, trying to protect their tribes, trying to protect their boundaries, they try to discriminate, they try to do all sorts of nepotism, favoritism in the name of their regions, in the name of their tribes. So God has brought this COVID-19 to bring back to the knowledge of his purpose, that while they try to discriminate themselves, they know that there is something that is better than a tribe. They got to realize that there is something. Life is better than a tribe. Oxygen is better than just a tribe. Medicine is better than just a tribe. Everything, there are things that matter that are better than just a race. So God has seen that one and says, my people need to go back to the original plan. When you look at Zechariah chapter 2 verse 11, that many nations shall be joined to the Lord this time round. All the nations, you ought to be joined to the Lord. Because of this situation, the situation has gone out of hand. The presidents are failing. The World Health Organization has a lot of questions on the situation. It's going out of hand. And Acts chapter 17, verse 26 says that God has made one blood all nations of men for to dwell on all the face of the earth. All the nations of men to dwell on the face of the earth. That is God. Malachi chapter 2 verse 10 says, have we not all one Father? Has not one God created us? Why do we deal treacherously, every man against his brother? In other words, why do we fight? All those ones have got implications, and that's why God has made it possible that he brings this situation to bring back his people to his knowledge. Why do we fight each other? Because of race, because of color. Matter? What matters is your blood. Do we have the same blood? Do we breathe the same oxygen? That's what matters, Lord. If sickness came, will it discriminate because I am black, because I'm brown, because I'm yellow? No, it will attack you, because all the science of disease is one. The science, the transmission, the prognosis, the diagnosis is all the same. So that's why I want to tell you that after God has seen all this, he asked the question, have we not all one Father? That's the question I'll ask you through Malachi. We have one Father. And why do we deal with all treacherously, with our neighbors, with our brethren? So all these scriptures, they indicate that we have one Father. And therefore, I came to tell us that having got one Father, this COVID-19 has put us in one unit so that we may be able to recognize that above every other, there is a God. Above every other tribe, there is a God. Above every other skin color, there is a God. Nothing matters now apart from the God who created us. He's the one that we ought to look unto in this moment. An example in Numbers chapter 21 from verse 6. To paraphrase it, you realize that as the children of Israel were moving into the desert, they reached a time when they were inflicted with sicknesses because of their stubbornness. So Moses went into the presence of God, and God told him, go and make a golden serpent, put it on a tree, hang it on a tree, that whoever looks on that tree with that snake on it, he will get healed. Now, I want to tell you this moment. Christ was hanged on the tree for our sake, that we shall receive healing. Even in this COVID-19, the reason that God has made us come to one cocoon, isolation, that quarantine, he wants to remind you that please go back and look unto the cross, because I was hanged for your sake, so that one language again comes back, the language of Christ. This is why he says in 2 Corinthians chapter 3 from verse 17 up to 18, he said, when we look unto Jesus, we start to resemble him. When we embrace this 2 Corinthians chapter 3 verse 17, the original plan of God will come back. Because when we look unto Christ, that scripture says, when we look unto Christ, we continue to embrace God's image. God's image continue to be reflected within us. And as we continue to look like God, when I say we look like God, we do what he wants. We embrace his holiness. We embrace him. Then shall we be in one common language, and his love shall be strong in us. I want to call on to you that the earlier we discover this secret of oneness into Christ, the earlier COVID-19 shall go away, and we shall be once again into the image of God. God bless you as you embrace Christ in your life, for he is there for you, and he died on the cross to be able to take you together with him when he comes back the second time. God bless you. Have a lovely moment.